Okay, since I was talking much, I don't need a different introduction. So we'll talk about Devant, which is the new iPaaS we have released recently. So there's Manu somewhere. Manu was leading the iPaaS effect, so shout out for Manu as well. So why do we need a new iPaaS? That's the first questions we need to answer. So in our opinion, every integration or every development we are doing in the enterprises is an integration. Because now if you are doing a new development, you have to connect to various services in order to get it. Service and APIs and data kind of act as the DLLs of the new world, right? So everything is an integration problem for us. And the development is often reassembling them together based on the requirement, business requirement. So based on different business requirement, you need to reassemble them in order to build new applications. And now with the recent developments on Copilot and other AI-assisted development and so on, almost everybody wants to build applications. Can it be low-code, pro-code? But something called white code as well, where people just use the Copilot or ChatGPT or whatnot to build new applications and so on. So how to simplify that so that people can build applications. So an integration, we consider it as API, data, events. Those are the old definition of integrations. With the new introduction of AI, we have gone through several AI to simplify the development experience on one hand, and AI to bring intelligence into the integrations in the other hand. But that also introduces new challenges, like GenAI, how much it lowers the skill set needed. That also allows people to build applications very fast, etc. But that also increases the number of people who are building the integration. But whoever have done integration, you will have known the integration problems are there for a long time. Even if you build an integration today, possibly it might run as it is for next couple of years. And after some time, you need to modify. So then people have to worry about, okay, how to maintain it. So that if people who are building the integration doesn't understand the long-term problem of maintaining the integration, we will be in trouble after some time. The immediate problem will be solved by creating new integrations, but the maintenance will be a problem, right? So then we need to ensure the documentations, code, design materials, etc. It has to be aligned with all the design we are doing now, so that if there is a document that has to be synced with the code which is generated all the time. Again, the document might evolve in its own path, the code might evolve in its own path. We need to keep the parity between those two. So that means you need a platform that improves the productivity through AI tools and etc., yet put necessary controls and necessary governance around, so that it helps you to have a long-term maintainability aspects. So that's where we built Devant. Devant is the integration for AI era. We have gone through several examples in the previous sessions as well. So I'll go through some of the screenshots at least to showcase some of the features and some of the capabilities of Devant. This is, even though we are releasing it as a new iPaaS, it is powered underneath by Choreo and WSO2 integrator, which is our integration product. So Barcelona integrator, micro integrator, and so on. It's powered by them. So it's a proven technology underneath, battle tested, and several customers are using Choreo and integrator. So it's, from a technology point of view, it's a proven technology, but gives first-class new experiences for iPaaS developers. So the development experience at the moment comes from Barcelona integrator and the micro integrator, primarily through the VS Code, all the experiences we have seen in the VS Code experiences. But we are working on bringing some browser editing capabilities as well. That is one of the primary requirements from an iPaaS point of view. So normally iPaaS developers, they expect the integration to be created within the browser itself. So we'll bring that particular capability. And as I mentioned, the Streaming integrator is one of the other technology we have in order to build the integrations. This is primarily coming as part of the event-driven integrations. So that will also come pretty soon in next couple of months. So people can interact with Devant through the UI, the browser UI, or can work with the VS Code itself. In the screenshots, in the demos of Rosen and Hasita, you would have seen there are options to deploy to Devant from micro integrator to Balna integrator, so you can deploy there. So from an architecture point of view, at the moment, people are using the development tools, then deploy through the control plane. Control plane is a common control plane for all the people managed by WSO2. But the application, the real application and the workload runs on the data plane. So the data plane, again, WSO2 provides a common data plane as well, but customers can bring their own data plane as well from various cloud providers. They can bring the data plane and attach it. So none of the data ever leaves the data plane, including the observability data, insight data, and any of the live traffic never leaves the data plane. It will be within the control of the customers. And we talk about all these 5 different integration types. So I'll show some of the screenshots of how it looks like. Again, based on the integration type, the UI will change. So in this particular example is creating an API, creating an integration as an API. So as I mentioned yesterday, we have brought in API manager capability as well within Devant itself, so that people can manage the APIs within Devant. They don't need to go outside the Devant to manage the API. So you can do all the security, throttling, rate limiting, etc. in Devant itself for the APIs exposed as integrations exposed as API. And this is a screenshot of automations. Again, automations are like you have to schedule it or you have to manually invoke it. In this particular case, it's scheduled. It runs every 15 minutes. And every 15 minutes, there will be a run, and you can go and check the logs. So automations are like you do several integrations, but it triggered on a timer basis, so somebody invoke it manually. Again, so there are necessary capabilities to cater those kind of requirements. Then AI agents, Shafin has shown how to create AI agents. Same is for Rosen's demo. When you deploy it in Devant, you will get something similar to that, so you can authenticate, etc. But in this particular case, you can switch the models, or you can select the models. So when you are building, you select particular models, but when you are deploying, again, you can select the production models or other configurations, and it will provide you a set of kind of a chat window where you can interact with the AI agent there in order to test it and even use it in production. So AI capabilities, most of the development-related AI capabilities comes from Balna integrator and micro integrator, which we have already seen in the previous sessions. And discovery and use of AI agents you can do through the Devant console. So you will identify what are the agents available in the organizations, can connect to them, and can interact with that through a chat interface, or can use it in other contexts. And then data ingestion for RAC knowledge databases is given as a first-class support in Devant. Again, Shafin's demo showed that. So you can do a click-through way of configuring data ingestions for vector databases and other knowledge bases. You can create vector databases for RAG applications within Devant itself. You don't need to, you can bring from outside as well if you want. But if you don't have a provider, you can create a vector database within Devant itself and then do the knowledge ingestion and can use it. And there are some other features which are coming soon. We are actively working on them to bring it. So basically, you can register multiple LLMs in an AI gateway and do all the egress traffic control, like applying guardrails, applying token limitations, etc., in the future. So AI Gateway is already available from WSO2, from the API Manager product. We will bring it inside Devant so that you can register multiple LLMs or multiple models within Devant itself, so that your agents and other RAG applications can use them, and you can manage all the credentials, etc. Then even yesterday discussions, testing AI application is very difficult because it's a non-deterministic behavior, right? If you have a test case written and have assertions written, sometimes it might not work. Sometimes it might do completely different because it's a fuzzy input. You will get a fuzzy output. So how do you test such system? There are some eval frameworks for AI systems available. So we'll bring them as well as part of the first class support within Devant, so that people can configure test cases they are in order to do the testing. And then one of the common, Devant has visibility on all the integrations in your organization. So I'll go about the multiple hierarchical structure in a later slide. But Devant has complete visibility of multiple projects and multiple integrations within your organization. So this is a good place where you can upload some libraries, also upload some documents, upload some design documents, business documents, and use the natural language or natural programming to analyze the document and analyze the solution as a whole to find some drift or find some problems. So that again, we will add it to the roadmap. It might take some time, but it will eventually come as part of the roadmap. So there are tons of enterprise capabilities as well. So I'll go one by one. I have a detailed slides on each of these points. First one is the hierarchies. So in the case of enterprises, in most cases, they have different teams building applications. So again, there are the concept of multiple projects, multiple teams. When they do, for example, if they are doing a domain-driven design, they might want to identify multiple domains, and each of the domain might become a project, or one domain might become two projects or multiple projects. And they might want to have multiple integrations within a project. And one of the other issue is you want to have multiple environments. So you have a development environment, staging environment, production environment, and so on, and you can create more environments. So the integration can be tested on the development environment, promoted to a staging, and eventually promoted to the production, and so on. So one of the primary aspects of this multiple hierarchy is you can have different teams and permissions associated with each of the teams, each of the artifacts like projects or environments or integrations and so on, so that only the limited number of people can access or can do operations on various projects. So some, like for example in WSO2, all the engineers, all the developers can see all the projects. We have an internal applications running. They can see all the projects up to the staging level, but can't see production. But only some people can even promote to development or staging. Not all developers will be able to do that, etc. So there are fine-grained control you can do within your project and within the environments and so on. Then because the next aspect is multiple data plane. As I mentioned previously, the workloads are running on the data plane. And the data, either the live traffic or the collected analytics and observability data, never leaves the data plane. So we support multiple data planes. So people can bring their own data planes, either from Azure, AWS, GCP, or on-prem data planes. It's a Kubernetes cluster at the end of the day. And they can connect multiple data planes together. So that gives a chance for them to have multi-cloud supports or multi-hybrid cloud kind of a support. So you can, for example, you can have your development environment on AWS, your production environment on OpenShift, for example. Or you might have your finance project running on OpenShift or VMware Tanzu. your engineering projects, which is commonly public, can run on AWS. So same way, similarly, you can decide, the organizations can decide on what combination they want to use various data planes to create a multi-cloud or hybrid cloud kind of a situation. And sometimes you might want to have public cloud as a bursting place rather than as a primary place. So all of that configuration, you should be able to do that. And other requirement on integration and especially APIs where you have consumers is multiple versions. Because in most cases, the integration lives for a long time and that goes through some evolutions, right, over the time. So that means you can't break the consumer. So in order to provide that, you need to have support for multiple versions. Devant has capabilities to have multiple versions, and different versions might be deployed on different environments as well. So in this particular case, like you can have two branches in your Git repository, like main and V2. And the main branch might be on different versions, like this particular line. Again, different versions might be on different environments, and the V2 might be on different environments. So you do like testing and then promotions and so on. So each of the versions can act as its own deployment track, where you can test independently of the other versions and can push it to production. So this is a screenshot of multiple, how the UI will look like. So at the top you can select multiple versions and then they will run on development and staging and production. And API management, again, we are bringing all the API management capabilities so that you can manage all the APIs, like throttling, security, rate limiting, etc., within the platform itself, without going outside Devant. So security is the other main concern for most of the people in the enterprises. Again, people are talking about zero trust security, managing secret managements, and so on. So we have brought in all of that together inside that. Again, Devant uses the cell architecture, which Shankar and Paul created some time back. So in the case of cell architecture, it's secured by 4 different gateways. So at the north, so we call it as north, south, east, west. So it secures the north-south traffic and the east-west traffic. North is exposed to the internet, where outside people can call it. The west is exposed to other projects within your organizations. So only the other projects within your organization can call what are the services exposed through that. That is the ingress traffic. And egress traffic, which is your projects or your integrations talking to other APIs or other services available in the organization. Again, if it is within the organization, you can go through east gateway, which is the egress gateway. Or if it is on an internet, it can go through south gateway. So every project is secured by 4 different gateways for ingress and egress. And the people who are building the integrations has to, or APIs has to explicitly expose them in one of the gateways for other people to use it. Then platform services, as I mentioned, we provide vector databases, but we also provide databases, message brokers, etc., as well as part of Devant now. So if you want to create a database or message broker as part of your integration solutions, you can include it or you can create within Devant and use it. We will have support for FTP in the future. FTP is primarily for the file integrations, file-based integration support. So that support will come soon. But at the moment, also vector databases, we will increase the coverage of vector databases. At the moment, we support PostgreSQL. From a database point of view, we support multiple databases. So we will increase the support of other databases and vector databases and message brokers. Observability and analytics is the other main problem. One of the problem is, troubleshooting. These systems are running on a continuous basis, so you need to troubleshoot it. So in this particular picture shows, multiple lines. The width of the line shows how much of traffic you are getting. So again, from a visual point of view, you can see. So it's automatically rendered by using the traffic coming into the system. And then you can mouse over and see some of the statistics about that particular line coming. At the same time, what we are trying to do here is by using observability as a way of doing the governance. Again, Sanjeev mentioned it in yesterday's, in the panel discussion or the fireside discussions. The governance by surveillance or governance by observability is one of the concepts we are trying to do. So in your organization, for example, you might design some projects and say this service A will call service B, and there is another service C which is called by service B, and so on. So that is at the design time. So that you can see from static view. So in this particular case, you have a static view which will show how the architect has designed how the interaction has to be. But at the runtime, when actually people are using it, it collects all the observability data. So based on the observability data, again, you can generate a new map of how the services are getting called. And then you can overlay it. So if you go to diff, it will show the differences between those two. So any lines, if you have a physical line and you don't have a runtime line, that means nobody else is using it. So that's a service. You have to question whether we can retire it or we want to keep it around, etc. But most problem is if there is no physical line, but there is a runtime line, that means somebody have violated something somewhere. So those are all kind of an indication for you to go and troubleshoot or go and enforce the governance rules around that. So we are trying to bring all that knowledge into that because we have full visibility onto all the services running in your system. And the usage insights is the other main case where you want to see some of the analytics, business analytics details. So that is again, we are working on to improve the coverage of it, but we already have some of the out-of-the-box support for some of these usage insights. Yeah, so that's all. It's a very high-level overview of what are the features available in Devant. People can deploy using micro-integrator or Balna integrator at the moment. And browser-based support is coming soon. Those are the only main points I wanted you to take over. Right? Thank you.